Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hey Almighty, we invoke your blessings and we seek your grace, your love, your compassion, your mercy, your forgiveness. We beseech in you to make this knowledge a living reality in our lives. Our gratitude and salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. So today we are on a divine discourse number 46, the 28th of May 2020, Sharvari Nam Samvatsar, Uttarayan, Grishmarut, Jeshtamas, Shukla Paksh, and Shashti, the 6th day towards the full moon, and a Thursday. So, now Lord Krishna has been giving us the knowledge of Karma Yoga. Here he is trying to tell us how one can keep doing karma and at the same time Gita, or who have been able to study under a teacher, only they are able to get this knowledge. And those souls are able to refine their life and rise to higher worlds. So here he is slowly revealing us secrets, one after the other. Now it is up to us as to how we are going to imbibe all this knowledge in our life. So yesterday he was saying, whatever actions you're doing, do it for the welfare of the society, for the welfare of the cosmos in large, because you are a citizen of the cosmos. And now in the 26th verse, he comes on to talk about more in detail as to how one should be behaving in the society by and large. Okay, so let's read this verse number 26, chapter number 3. Okay. न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानं कर्मसङ्गिनाम् जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तसमाचरन् न बुद्धिभेद जनयेत् अज्ञानं कर्मसङ्गिनाम् जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्धि युक्त समाचरन्. See, here he says, well, there are different kinds of people, and each one will be doing in their own manner. Like there are some who don't want to work at all, who are lazy, have a laid-back attitude, and who want to make quick money by the wrong means. They come under the category of the tamasic variety. And there are also some who are working and they also try to approach the Lord. Yes, being in this world, they have so many issues, and they will be, when they approach the Lord, they would also ask for some favors. And there is a third category where they just approach the Lord for the love of the Lord, seeking His grace, His blessings, and asking for viveka, vairagya. Viveka means the intellect to know what is right, what is wrong, what is doable, what is not doable. And vairagya is a decent amount of dispassion to rise from the materialistic world. And eventually they pray that, oh Lord, pave the way for me so that I can reach you. So these are the broad three categories. So now here what Lord Krishna says is, na buddhi bedam janayet, meaning you don't ask those ignorant people to suddenly stop what they are doing. Say, no, this is not right. You can do things in a much better way. Because you may think, oh, I'm a man of self-discovery, I know everything. Such people, if you suddenly start talking of pure ethics, ideologies, and give such kind of advices, then the category of people who are even going to the temple, they'll be confused. So there he says, you don't make them stop. Rechange their direction. If somebody has gone, let's say, in the wrong direction, and you can't say, hey, you're going in the wrong direction, stop. Don't give such alarming calls. Tell them, I think you need to take a left here, and then keep going straight for some time, and then take another left, and that way you guide him. Don't make him stop. As simple as if he has gone to a temple, yes, he has prayed, you can advise such people, why don't you sit down in the temple? It has a very pious and a soothing environment. Sit down there and do some 11 Gayatri jap initially. So that person will, he said, not a bad idea. How much more it will take? It will take another 5 minutes more, that's all. Let me try this. And he'll sit and he'll meditate. You can tell him this will strengthen your intellect. And actually it does. By a strong intellect, you are able to further perform better in this world. That is also right. And as he does that, he gets a feeling of much more purity and strength. Then to such people, when you say, see, once in 6 months or so in a temple, a brief 20 minutes havan is happening. Why don't you perform in this havan? Participate in this havan. A Gayatri havan is happening. So that day they chant 108 Gayatri. So when he gets into this, because now almost about 6 months of training he has got, daily he's going to the temple, he's doing 11 times Gayatri jap. That day in front of the fire offering havis and all that, he does 108 times. Definitely he'll feel great about it that day. And he'll start elevating himself. Then as his mind gets purer and purer, then you tell such a person, why don't you do your work saying that you're an instrument in the hands of God? Then he says, what is the meaning of that? Meaning God is there with you. When you say you're an instrument, meaning who is holding this instrument? God is holding you. So see the amount of support it gives you when you work on these lines. Constantly you're held by God. Oh, not a bad idea. I think I should try this as well. And then he offers himself. Says, I am an instrument in the God's hand and I'm doing my work. See, that small action of he going to the temple on a daily basis. Now how it is elevating the soul, you see this. So whoever doesn't have that ample idea, so if you consider you know something, you take them slowly, you start lifting them slowly. Don't be in a hurry and never stop them from doing what they are doing. That is one of the most important things what one has to understand here. He is on the right path, just he's on the wrong path. Okay, make a diversion and see that he starts slowly climbing the ladder. And once he offers himself as an instrument in the hands of God, then the karma theory will come in place and it will cleanse him to a great extent. And then the rise is much more phenomenal. So this is what the Lord advises for the people who are more wise. Okay. Now, if both the ignorant and the wise, they are performing such kind of Vedic actions, then what is the difference between them? So this is what Sri Krishna, he appends a question. Although Arjuna doesn't ask this question, he foresees this question. And then he says, okay, he explains in the next two verses. Okay, now verse number 27. Prakrite kriya karmanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimodatma kartaramiti manyate. Now, here he talks about, he actually gives us some deep knowledge, which is how he has created this world. See, now we should understand this carefully. He says, all the activities which are carried by any jiva, a human, they are categorized under the three modes or three broad categories of material nature. He uses this word as material nature. Material nature here means guna. I'll explain more in detail later. But being ignorant, and there also he says, in the light of Maya, which has put a veil on you, you are deluded by that false identification with your own self, and you think that you are the doer. So now what is this guna? The tendencies. Where do the tendencies come from? The vasanas, which one has accumulated life after life. For innumerable lives, they have accumulated now. So these tendencies which have been accumulated for several births, they are stored in your causal body. The Karan Sharir, what we call. And as I had explained earlier, the Sukshma Sharir, the subtle body, and the causal body, the Karan Sharir, these two migrate from the gross body on the death of a body. Gross body is the one which is left behind here, where we cremate that body. But these subtle two bodies, they travel to the upper world. And then, as per the decision which is made based on your sanchita karma and your previous life kriyaman karma, so there you get a new birth of whatever nature it may be. So that is the reason you see there are people who have different flavors in their attitude. Now you think for yourself, now the most divine, the most gracious thing which can be done is knowing the Lord, knowing His creation, knowing yourself. But how many are interested? Very few, rare people, they are given this mindset. And this also comes from by the grace of the Lord only. He says, when your punya, your good deeds have fructified at a particular level, then I will see that these channels open to you. So the flavor what you have is a sattvic mindset. You are at the highest level in terms of your mind. You want to know the best. You are not interested in the materialistic things or lower than that. You say, now enough, that is enough. Okay, that is still there in my life, fine. But that's not all my life. I'm not going to be a Netflix fan all the time. There is something better also for me to do in life. And see how one is dedicated in trying to listen to all this, understand all this. So here the Lord says, bear in mind that based on your temperament, your tendencies, all the activities are happening in your life. A person who is not aware of this, he thinks that he is the doer. Now the second part is extremely important. What have we done? With our egotism, or that ego which we have developed in our mind, we are thinking that we are the doers. of every action in life. Then who is doing it? He tries to explain. He says, understand. The Prakriti, that is the Mother Nature, one aspect of, there are one natural, what in activities what you're doing. Which are these natural actions? Which are basically all your biological functions. Your blood circulation, your heart pumping, your digestion, supply of all nutrients to the various parts of your body, your excretion, all that, these are all natural functions. Are they not happening on their own? If you have to be convinced that yes, the Prakriti or nature is doing all this, are these not happening? Similarly, what they say is the other set of actions, like you are walking, you're talking, you're thinking, you're sleeping, you're working, these are all the other set of actions. That is where the I comes. I am speaking, I am hearing, I am walking, I am sleeping, I am working. So here the Lord says, as you easily accepted that the natural biological functions are done by nature, the Ajnani, meaning the ignorant, will not be able to understand that even the other functions which are exhibited outside, even they are not done by nature. He thinks that he is doing it. Now, how does this happen? Because that sense of ego has come in. And from where did it come? Where did it come? It has come naturally. By the power of Maya, which the Lord has done, He has put in a sense of ego in everybody's mind. And what does that do? It basically identifies with every action and part of the body. Now, body is an instrument. Mind is an instrument. The intellect is also an instrument, of whom they're all instruments which are enlivened by the consciousness. The Panchakosha Viveka, what we're doing, we're seeing there. Do they have the first test, what we're saying? Is it changing continuously? Yes. Second, we say, does it have its own source of energy? No. And the third one is, does it stay permanently, or it is going to die one day? It's going to die. So here what we could understand, that this is all of an impermanent nature. It doesn't have anything of its own. Just like somebody's watch or a mobile or any other electronic gadget you have. It is there for some time. You are not that. That is a gadget in your hands, at your disposal. But now the identification has become so strong that this I factor in us has completely enveloped that everything is done by me. Me, the ego. So here, what we need to understand, I'll go a little more in detail because the whole of Vedanta or the spiritual studies is in understanding what your true self is and also understanding what you are not. What you are not meaning? That is anatma. What your true self is? Atma. Anatma is that the three categories, which subject to continuous change, which does not have its own source of energy, and which is subject to death. Now let's say you have hot potatoes. Now, does the heat in the potatoes belong to the potatoes? No. Why? Because you keep them outside in a plate and over a period of time it will be cold. Then where did it get its heat from? It got from the boiling water. Now, does the heat of the water belong to its own? No. Why? If you keep the water away from the fire, the water will get cold. So the water got the heat from the hot vessel. Now the hot vessel similarly got this heat from the fire. Otherwise, all those three, the potatoes, the water, the vessel, all these are intrinsically, they are cold. They don't have their own source of heat or energy. It is that fire and fire alone which has got its property of heat. So in the same way, now what we are made up of as all these koshas, they do get the power from the consciousness. Now then, where does this ego come from? This needs a bit of explanation. Okay, I'll start with basically, firstly, how does a thought get formed in your mind? Let's do a bit of conceptualization over here. So then it makes a better understanding of what we are trying to learn by these verses told by the Lord. Okay. An object plus the consciousness, it generates a thought. Object plus consciousness equals thought. How? A tortoise. What came in your mind now? Tortoise is an object. You have consciousness within you. So the tortoise plus that consciousness together gave you a picture of tortoise in your mind, which it becomes a thought. And thought in Sanskrit is known as vritti. A tree. Suddenly, what happened? You get a thought of a tree in your mind. So now this is how a thought is developed in your mind. It is developed from where? It is developed from the object. Okay. Now, you say that there are so many thoughts coming in your mind. Especially this happens when you sit for meditation. Correct? Oh my God, the moment I sit for meditation, all the unnecessary thoughts also start coming in. That is all because is the huge amount of association with various objects. So, if you want to be free from a thought minus object equals consciousness. Simple mathematical formula. So the less you think about objects or persons, places, experiences, the number of thoughts start reducing in your mind. When we are attached to something, what we do? For no rhyme or reason, we keep bringing the thought of that object to our mind, or we bring the object to our mind and that converts to a thought, isn't it? It could be something, a commodity which you love, an object which you love, you want to possess that, or it could be a person, or it could be an experience. The more you start thinking about it, the more and more it hits your mind as thoughts. And that keeps continuously disturbing you. So now here you understood how a thought came. Now let's go backward. Thoughts arise in the mind, and before the mind we have the intellect. Now the intellect gets a desire from the causal body, the Karan Sharir, what I said. Now this causal body has a storehouse of desires, of all your desires which have been accumulated for several and innumerable births. So what it does, it keeps sprouting and pumping desires. Where does the desire come now? From the causal body, it springs into your intellect, your buddhi shakti, as a desire. The moment you get a desire in the intellect, the mind understands. Oh, now the intellect has got a desire. What it does, the mind, in association with the senses, and the senses, they reach out to that object, whatever you are looking for, object, person, experience, whatever it is. It reaches out there, it catches hold of that object. So immediately a thought is formed in your mind. Object, consciousness is always present. Through the senses, a thought comes in the mind. Now the permission has already been given by the intellect, because it's a desire which is generated by the intellect. It's at the higher level, isn't it? So then what the mind does, it instructs the karmendriya, that is the organs of action. Come on, get into action now. This is available at so and so place. It's available nearby, walk it up. You need to take a car, take the car keys, go there, drive the car, pick up that commodity, whatever it is. Or if it is a person, you meet the person. If it is to be ordered, you'll go to Amazon, you'll order that, and you'll be eagerly waiting for the delivery. Till that delivery comes, constantly, again and again, that object keeps hitting your mind. So now this is the chain how thoughts are generated in your mind. From the causal body, based on your previous tendencies, those desires spring up in your intellect. And no sooner the intellect gets that desire, the signal goes to the mind. And how the thought is formed in the mind? Through the senses, the mind reaches the object. The object plus consciousness immediately repercutes as a thought in the mind. And the mind gets into action to achieve it. No sooner it is achieved, it is caught hold, then what happens? It comes in as you have experienced it. So the moment you experience it, it forms another tendency or an impression back in your mind, which goes back and strengthens the vasana again in the storehouse. Oh, this is again experienced. As simple as now when you are, say, you're listening to a particular song on the YouTube, or you access any information on the net. Have you not seen how subsequent searches will happen? It will start giving you the same type of feedback. Why? It understands. That is intelligence. So if an ordinary computer can understand this, imagine the one causal body created by the Almighty. So here what we have to understand is that we are made up of all these tendencies in us already. And now if you start doing everything with that sense of egoism, that I am doing it, then the tendencies start getting stronger and stronger, and you will be never able to come out of it. It is a vicious cycle. So here, what we have to grasp is that as the natural biological functions happen in our body, we should surrender to the Lord and say, "Oh Lord, I do understand that whatever is happening in my mind, based on which I am acting in this world, like speaking, hearing, walking, sleeping, interacting with the world, is all happening because of the tendencies which are created in my causal body, and I want to be protected from it." So what you have to do? There you have to disconnect your identification with it. See, what is the reason for our misery in life? Because we are identified. And when we are identified strongly, what is happening? We are continuously, with whatever action you are doing, there are positive and negative reactions. And most of it are negative. So when the negative comes, we suffer. So here, just imagine what happens in a dream. The dreamer has created a world of his own. He is there. There is a world around him. There are people, objects, places, everything he has created in his mind. Let's say he is undergoing a terrible time in his dream, a very, very horrible time in his dream. He's perspiring, he's lamenting in pain. Now, if you want to save the dreamer from that pain, what would you do? The moment you identify with your dream body, your pain is gone. Think about this. These are very subtle points. When the moment you disidentify with your dream body, all the pains of your dream are gone. The dreamer is liberated from his pains when he ends his identification with the dream world and the dream body. In the same way, we have to disidentify ourselves with what is happening in the waking world. Half of it we are already identified because that has come naturally. You have not done anything. Lord himself has made you that you don't have any control on the natural biological functions of your body. The rest also has to be surrendered to the Lord. Now this is just the beginning. Now how to do this and how you can achieve that. How you can disidentify a dreamer from the dream world. How you did that and you brought an end to all his pain and suffering. So in the same way, how is it that I as a waker, I can disidentify myself with all my actions? Half of it is natural. I want the other half also to be on the same lines. I don't want to owe any responsibility for the rest half. I want to be peaceful. And I don't want to get into this further creation of impressions in the mind, strengthening the vasanas, and again I getting into trouble. I don't want to do that. So the wise, the ones whose good deeds, punya is fortified, they will want to go this way. They said we want to evolve in life, knowing very well that there is a humongous amount of suffering and a little pleasure here and there. Why should I, for that sake, get into this? And as a rare opportunity, I have got a human birth, which is a gateway for end of this entire debacle. So let me make use of this. So in the subsequent verses, he teaches us more and more of all these techniques. So we have to now make up our mind and see how we have to understand this and how we start practicing this. See, let's say you have got a very good prescription for a recipe for a cake. You may read the recipe 100 times, but you will never get to experience the taste of a cake. Or a laddu, you can say. Whatever suits you. Or a rasgulla. Only when with the recipe you have made a dish for yourself, you have prepared it, and when you put it on your tongue, only then you will understand the taste of it. In the same way, all this knowledge, all these techniques, what we are getting here from the Lord, has to be imbibed in our lives. It has to be put into practice. The way you take the recipe and start working on it, the same way, these are the recipes which God is giving you. Take this. Everybody is not getting this. The rare and few chosen are getting this. There are others, even if they listen by mistake, let's say, or by force, they will not understand this. And their mental flavor or their vasanas will never allow them to also go ahead on this. He openly says in the subsequent chapters, says that is a wonder. So we have to convert the recipe into a dish and experience it. So start thinking seriously. In a small way, a journey of 1,000 miles started with a single step. We should do that. Start on those lines. See, animals live by seasons. Man for noble reasons. So we have to look for noble reasons. Now this is something which is noble. And here you are getting it. Catch hold of it and make the best of it. Let's do some meditation. All of you sit comfortably. Head, neck and spine in a straight line. Relax your entire body. Ensure that your face and your forehead is relaxed. Expand your face and your forehead a bit. You'll feel much better. Keep your eyes gently closed. Bring a smile on your face. Now, let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale as much as you can. Equal inhalation and exhalation as deep as you can. Now, by the three parameter formula, we are going to see which is the suprememost part within us. Let's start. Clench your fists and release them slowly. This is the body. Made of flesh and bones and blood. Packed into a bag of skin. The body has changed enormously from the time it has been born. The body does not have its own source of energy. And the body is subject to death one day. The body is an Atma. An illusory false object. Let's go deeper. Are the pranas suprememost? Are they subject to change? Yes, the pranas are subject to change quite frequently. They do not have their own source of energy. And on the end of this karmic account, the prana cease to operate. And as a result, it's the death of the jiva. Is the mind the supreme most? Let's examine. The mind too is an object which can be seen, and it changes so rapidly. Sometimes in less than a second. The mind does not have its own source of energy. Being a part of the subtle body, along with the pranas, cease to operate when the pranas come to an end. Mind also is an illusory, false object. On death is permanently not there, but every day in deep sleep state, the mind is not present. There is the intellect, the supreme most. Let's try it out. The intellect is also subject to change from time to time. Understanding, not understanding. Feelings of pride, insult. every now and then generating a desire. The intellect does not have its own source of energy. Being a part of the subtle body, along with the mind and the pranas, cease to operate on the death of the body. The intellect is also an illusory, false object. Going deeper, we experience a state of bliss, an ignorance-based bliss, free of thoughts. This bliss sheath comes every night in your deep sleep state, and goes away on waking up. Absence of mind in this state is the result of bliss. The amount of happiness, bliss one experiences in this state every night in their deep sleep the bliss of a king in the palace and beggar on the road, the quantum will be the same. The sheath does not have its own source of energy. And on death of the body, the Sthula Sharir, along with the Sukshma, this being the causal body, the Karan Sharif, go higher to seek a new birth. So this too is a false, illusory entity. Then is there anything which does not change? Which has its own source of energy, and which is eternal. Yes, that consciousness within you, right there within you, is that supreme-most truth. This consciousness is eternal, changeless, and self-illumining. This consciousness is the supreme-most truth. Which enlivens all the 5 sheaths in your body to operate and perform. The body, the mind, the pranas, the intellect, are all illusory objects functioning in the light of this consciousness. Illusory being, they are there for some time and not there after some time. The feeling of I, due to Maya and ignorance, thinking that you are the body, mind, is false. and that this consciousness alone is the supreme truth. Be aware of this knowledge and gain everlasting peace and salvation. Slowly open your eyes, rub your palms, place them on your eyes, and peacefully and gently open your eyes. Okay. If anybody has any questions, please post them on WhatsApp. We'll conclude the session here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. We offer our humble salutations and immense gratitude to the Almighty and the Guru Parampara. We seek their divine grace and blessings. Om Tat Sat.